That's sad. That's sad. So this dude been clout chasing since he tried to tell the Geisha black girl, tried to tell her that me and him was a thing. Back then, I checked him back then. So when I realized that his page got all this stuff about me on his page, I hit him and said, hey yo, delete me off your page.
Something started building online that nobody really expected to take off this much. At first, it looked like just another random moment on social media that would disappear after a few hours. But sometimes a small spark is enough to pull thousands of people into a story, even when the full picture is not clear at all. It began with a very short comment from 50 Cent. No long explanation, no context, just a few words that didn't seem important on their own. I see you, that was it. Simple, short, almost harmless on the surface. But the internet doesn't treat anything from him as meaningless. People have learned over time that when he speaks, there is usually something behind it, even if it's not immediately obvious. That one line started spreading quickly. Screenshots, reposts, discussions, people began asking who he was referring to and why he even said it. The curiosity itself became bigger than the actual message, and slowly, without anyone officially confirming anything, the name Claressa Shields started getting pulled into the conversation. Claressa Shields has always been known for her strength, discipline, and focus. A fighter who built her career step by step, earning respect through performance rather than noise. For most people, she represents control and confidence, someone who doesn't get easily affected by outside drama. That's exactly why this situation felt strange to many viewers. Because suddenly, her name wasn't being discussed in the usual way of achievements or victories. It was being mentioned in a more uncertain tone, mixed with speculation and assumptions. But the strange part is that nothing actually confirmed had happened. No statement, no explanation, just online conversations filling in the blanks. And when the internet doesn't have answers, it creates its own. As more people started discussing 50 Cent's comment, older clips and interviews began resurfacing. Moments that once seemed normal were now being rewatched with different eyes. People started reading between the lines, trying to find hidden meanings that may or may not even exist. That's how quickly perception can change online. One moment someone is a respected champion, and the next moment they are being questioned based on theories that have no solid proof behind them. And through all of this, Claressa Shields stayed silent. That silence became a big part of the conversation itself. Because in situations like this, silence doesn't go unnoticed. Instead, it often becomes fuel for more speculation. People started asking why she wasn't responding. Some said maybe she didn't feel the need to address rumors. Others believed maybe ignoring it would make it disappear on its own. But online, silence rarely makes anything disappear. It usually makes it grow. The more she stayed quiet, the more the discussion shifted away from facts and into imagination. People started building narratives around possibilities instead of reality. Some even started suggesting hidden influences in her journey, things that were never proven or even properly explained. It wasn't about truth anymore. It was about curiosity mixed with entertainment, where everyone had an opinion but no one had real answers. And just when the situation was already getting heavier online, another name entered the conversation: Papoose. At first, people didn't expect him to be part of this at all. He has always been known as someone calm, private, and controlled, not the type to jump into public drama or react to every online rumor. That's why his involvement surprised a lot of people, because when someone like him reacts, it usually means the situation feels personal in some way. A clip started circulating where he spoke with visible emotion, not anger in a chaotic sense, but a deeper kind of intensity that felt like it came from somewhere personal. He said something along the lines of not knowing what people had sacrificed or what it took to get to certain places. That one moment changed the direction of the conversation again, because now people weren't just focusing on Claressa anymore. They were trying to understand why Papoose was reacting this strongly. Was he simply defending someone? Or was there something deeper behind his words that the public didn't understand? The uncertainty made everything feel heavier. The situation was no longer just about a comment from 50 Cent. It had turned into a chain of reactions, each one adding more layers to the story. And with every layer, the internet became more divided. Some people supported Papoose, saying he was simply showing loyalty. Others thought his reaction suggested there might be more behind the scenes than what was publicly known. And through all of this, 50 Cent remained in the background, not adding much more, just observing the reaction his initial comment created. That's what made the situation even more interesting for people watching closely, because sometimes you don't need to keep speaking for impact to continue. One small moment continued growing on its own once the public takes over. As days passed, the discussion didn't slow down. Instead, it evolved. What started as curiosity turned into debate. What started as debate turned into speculation, and what started as speculation turned into a kind of ongoing narrative that people kept revisiting. Claressa Shields' achievements were still there, unchanged, but the way people were talking about her had shifted, not because of any confirmed event, but because of perception. And perception, once it changes, is difficult to control again. Even people who weren't fully invested in the story found themselves reading about it, watching clips, or seeing discussions online. That's how viral moments work. They pull in even those who were never part of it in the first place. And still, through all of this growing noise, there was no official closure, no clear explanation, no final statement that could settle everything, just questions and silence and reactions. By the time things reached this point, the story had already gone far beyond a simple comment or misunderstanding. It had become something shaped by thousands of voices, each adding their own interpretation to it. And once a story reaches that stage, it no longer belongs to the people involved. It belongs to the public conversation. Claressa Shields was still at the center of attention, but not in a way that reflected her achievements. Instead, she had become part of a larger discussion about perception and silence. Whether fair or unfair, that's how the narrative had shifted. At the same time, Papoose continued to be analyzed from every angle. His emotional reaction had created more questions than answers, and people kept replaying his words, trying to understand the deeper meaning behind them. Some believed it was just loyalty. Others believed it hinted at something more complicated, but no one had proof either way. And then there was 50 Cent, still quiet, still observing, but undeniably the starting point of everything that unfolded. One short comment was enough to set off a chain reaction that turned into weeks of discussion. But what makes the situation so gripping isn't just the people involved. It's the uncertainty itself, because there is no clear ending, no confirmed truth, and no final explanation that brings everything together. Instead, there is only ongoing speculation, shifting opinions, and a story that continues to evolve in real time. And maybe that's why people keep watching. Not because they know the truth, but because they don't. Because every time it feels like the conversation is slowing down, something else brings it back again. Another clip, another opinion, another reaction. And suddenly, the questions return. What really started this? Was it just a misunderstood comment, or is there something deeper that no one has fully explained yet? Right now, there are no answers that everyone agrees on. Only perspectives. Only interpretations, only fragments of a much bigger picture that no one can fully see yet. And as long as that remains the case, the story isn't really over. It's just waiting for the next moment that will bring it back into the spotlight again.